ISS for their support and sponsoring today's session. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Ceres Silva, Director of Sales in Canada for ISS. With 12 years experience in the security market, Ceres joined Intelligent Security Systems in 2015. Prior to ISS, she was a security designer for several access control, camera, and software manufacturers. An active member of ASIS and CANASA, she is also a council member of SIA, Women in Security, and a founding member of Immigrant Women in Business. Feel free to type any questions you may have into the chat window at the bottom of your screen, and Ceres will answer them in roughly 20 minutes from now. I'll now turn the session over to Ceres. Welcome, and thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for introduction. Thank you, CANASA, for this opportunity. And most importantly, thank you everyone who's attending the webinar today. I'm aware that we've been having a lot of requests of this nature, so I appreciate each one's time to watch our webinar today. So I have decided to put something very interesting for our session today for this opportunity with CANASA. For everyone attending today, I would like to first and foremost introduce the company. So I want to make sure that for majority of you today know ISS, but for those who just joined and perhaps do not know how big our organization is and our presence around the world, I would like to start with this slide by showing that the company is based out of New Jersey in USA, but we have offices around the world, so the presence is pretty spread. Today we have a lot of installations, some very great and important installations around the world. I can pick some examples. The Middle East, we have the majority of the license plate recognition there. If I pick, say, a smart city, for example, in Brazil, over 9,000 cameras. Our biggest project in Mexico, over 35,000 cameras on the smart city. So just to give you a foundation that we're not, by no stretch of imagination, a startup. We might not have a big of a presence in Canada, but we have been great traction for the last 5 years, which I am directing Canada. With ISS, I have a sales engineer in Vancouver, Edward. So just to give you an idea how big is the company. So what do we do? What ISS does? So in a nutshell, I just wanted to kind of explain first and foremost, we are a video management system. Well, you might be asking, okay, so yet another VMS. Okay, so what's so special about you? Like what are your differentiators? So I decided to divide the presentation today by introducing the company, by showing you what we have, but most important, what our features, what are our differentiators, and so what are they? So we are an open platform, meaning we can work with any. Let me just put this down here. So we can work with any technology partner out there. So I want to give you the freedom to use whatever camera manufacturer you want to use, whatever access control manufacturer you want to use. So ISS will pick or take all this technology, all these partners, and put in a one-stop shop. So we would put a one interface to have you the flexibility and I guess the easy access to information, and not the need to have several interfaces open or several software open to manage a security or your security needs. So that's an example of how the technology partners will work. But I wanted to, now that you understand that, yes, we are a video management system. Yes, we manage cameras. We have integration with a lot of access controls out there, with alarm panels, with intrusion panels. But when and why would you pick ISS versus the other options that you might have? So this is, for me, the most important slide that we have here today. So, of course, the open platform. So the ability or the flexibility to use whatever, like I mentioned, manufacturer you want, but most important, leverage your current install. For those integrators who are present here today, How hard it is to go to an end user and then simply convince them to replace everything that they have. It's impossible. So I want to give you the option to give to your customer. Keep your current install, maybe keep your current installation, and let's put more cameras. Let's follow what the technology trend is going. So you keep your leverage install the new technology that you want, single source of responsibility. It can be from 1 to thousands of sites, a unified platform. What do I mean by that? And that's what I'm going to focus on the meeting or the presentation here today. We are VMS, yes, we are, but we have a lot of analytics that are our native analytics. So a unified video platform. You can integrate sensors, devices, cameras, alarm panels, analytics in one single portal. That's key. So you get a scalability, a feature-proof solution, and then you can add features as you want. For the integrators out there, we can always go back to the same customer and upsell. It's different than if you sell an NVR, where you can sell solutions done and you don't have anything else to sell in the future unless you want to replace everything. When you start with the full feature VMS with analytics on board, you can always go back and upsell or offer something else that they need. And when it comes to licensing, this is very key, okay? Licenses are perpetual. So you don't have to pay annual fees. You don't have to pay base license, a licenser per camera only. That's very key, very important. This is just an example of how a unified platform will look like. So here you have what a video and access control system or interface will look like. I wanted to show you this before we can jump into the two topics that I chose for you guys today, which is license plate recognition and the COVID back to work analytics. But before we can actually show those two, I want to tell you and I want to show you what all the capabilities of this software can give it to you. So we start talking about a VMS. This is an example what a VMS and access control will look like. But what are our differentiators? How can you sell value? How can you add value to your solution or to your customers? And if you're an end user here joining us today, guys, the best thing for you is to install something that you don't have to worry about it. You install once, the only thing you have to worry is, well, today I need license plate recognition. There you have it. Cargo recognition, face capture, face mask detection, under vehicle surveillance system, point of sale for your cash register, maybe for a retail store, behavior analytics. We never know where the world is going. So vehicle classification, video management. You notice I put the video management here as a part or as a module of a much more comprehensive ecosystem of solutions. So the video is important indeed, but you have a lot of analytics that are part of this ecosystem of solutions. Everything in blue is part of my native application. So there's no need to go to a third-party integration or OEM integration. Anything in orange, we need we count on our partners to make that integration happen. So what are the off-the-shelf analytics? Okay, so this is not a customized solution. This is a modular solution. You can add as you want. You can unlock those licenses as you need. So for example, license plate recognition, the cargo container, traffic violations, traffic monitoring solutions, point of sale, so synchronizing with cash register and retail stores, face recognition, behavior analytics. Those are all analytics that are off the shelf. So we have a part number for them. Once you buy the software, once you buy per camera, you can always go back and say, Sarah's, listen, or I just want one license plate for my parking lot. That's great. Your software is already set for that. You just need to go and unlock that feature. That's pretty competitive and pretty impressive. So there's off the shelf. What else? So besides off the shelf analytics, ISS is also specialized on some specialty, what I like to call them, specialty analytics. For example, the one in front of you, the under vehicle surveillance system. So this is a combination of hardware and software where a fisheye camera can get you the image of under deck carriage. And then you're able to using our patent to stitch that image under that vehicle. So for surveillance purpose, now you substitute the mirror. You can, track contraband, any tampering done under that vehicle. Another page, I like to put this as well, the slide about the customizer, the specialty analytics. So you talk about some vehicle classification, object classification. This is an example of an airport where you want to check dwelling time. So you want to classify those objects within the field of view, within the area you want to track. And maybe you wanted to count the vehicles or classify motorcycle, cars, and whatnot. Same thing for human behavioral analytics. So you're using artificial intelligence, deep learning analytics, smoke detection, analog gauge reading. That's amazing, getting analog reading to a digital number. Vehicle VIN number. This is very impressive. We're able to get the VIN number from car parts within a conveyor belt at a car manufacturer. So by showing you all this, now it gives me the foundation to focus on what I brought to you today as a focus for our presentation. So I like to focus on the license plate recognition. Reason being is license plate recognition and ISS has been by far our most robust solution. When I mentioned at the beginning about the Middle East, that poses a big challenge when doing reading plates, reading those characters. And ISS is one of the few, if not the only, if I'm not mistaken, to be approved by the Arabic letters or Arabic characters to be recognized on license plates and vehicles over there. So we use a template-based analytics or a native algorithm to get a good accuracy reading, a good accuracy rate. This has been by far one analytic that opens a lot of doors for ISS in the world, including Canada. I have another slide to show you all the templates, Canadian plates per province. So we have a low speed, as you see right here. We also have a high speed license. So it catches vehicles or catch license plates up to 250 kilometers an hour. Very impressive solution for highways and city surveillance and highway patrol. Same thing here, like I mentioned, the Canadian plates. So we have Ontario, but it's not limited to Ontario plates. Now we can check Alberta, Quebec, British Columbia. We go by province. Same thing here for mobile. So you can actually mount a camera in vehicles and be able to track or create different watch lists to track vehicles, maybe stolen vehicles or expired tags, or even for like examples like I have here in Toronto. That's my next slide. I have license plate recognition replacing fobs at the entrance of a garage in a visitor apartment. This is a 600 apartment building downtown Toronto, where they replace the fobs by using our LPR as a main means of entrance. You notice here, I put some of the challenging, vehicles on the angle, almost blinding the camera, vanity plates, very dark or dark vehicle, and still the reading is pretty high. For those who know ISS and may perhaps know our LPR, would be very, very impressed with our new analytic. So now ISS, we have a color, make, and model. So now besides reading plates on a very accuracy rate, a very accurate level, we all now are able to check what vehicles they are. So what color, what make, and model are those vehicles. So extremely important for police departments, for maybe even to track vehicles within an organization or on a critical infrastructure facility. So this is an example of what you can achieve using our license plate recognition today. You get the vehicle, you know the state, you get the plate number, you know the color of the vehicle, you have a little thumbnail of the video when the vehicle came in. So you have your surveillance, you have a reporting system for license plate, you have your watch lists, your search button within the video management world. So very important tool for organizations to track anything, again, from from a police standpoint to a city surveillance to a critical infrastructure facility. For an educational, I have a college in Ontario that they wanted to track vehicles because, you know, say they have some, you know, trouble or some people were no longer welcome into their facility and they wanted to track those vehicles. So why don't we get all this information and we put on a very nice user-friendly dashboard? So that's, we also offer. Some of you, again, who knows ISS, perhaps never saw this application or this feature. We are able to get all this data and put on a very user-friendly dashboard for your end user. So this is just an example, but of course, you can tell us how to manage this data and we can display whichever way you want us to do. So in this case, it's a smart city. We drag and drop all those cameras within the city perimeter, and we're able to get the thumbnail of that vehicle. We put on some watch lists, or maybe some alarms, get graphs, pie charts, and whatnot. Now, my second objective today is to show you what ISS is doing to help or to make it easier, this crazy reality we are all living in. So some of this back to work safety requirements or back to work COVID-19 screening solutions. So what are the analytics that we have developed to mitigate, or I guess to assist some of these back to work requirements? Before I even jump into the actual analytics of the COVID that we developed on the last year, I actually want to show you that ISS has been a pioneer into the face recognition analytics using IP cameras. This analytic has been in our portfolio for years, for many, many years. This has been under development, under improvement, even before COVID was even, you know, part of our reality. So why do I show you that we are face recognition? We have a face recognition before, because you will see why it makes sense. My next slide, the face mask detection, because I'm even going to stop this video for a second. Because we had face recognition running for this many years, funny enough, prior COVID, we had a feature that was to track if people are actually having some sort of a face obstruction. And, you know, we want to have an alarm because maybe it was a store about to be robbed, or it was maybe some, you know, shoplifting in process. Now, we just put this feature instead of in the back engine, we put it in the front. So now for you as my customer, now you have this feature, which it was already a feature before. The only thing now we put on an interface to make it easier to identify if people are actually using their masks or not. So very interesting that ISS had this before, and we just put it on the on another set of analytics. The same thing with the face mask. We work in conjunction with our camera partners who do have the capability of reading temperature. So the camera partners that do provide the reading, like you see right here, we simply get this reading in combination with our face mask detection, and we are able to show you or to give your installation or your company the visibility of people are actually wearing or using their masks, and if they have the temperature, appropriate temperature to go into the facility. What else has been, so this is pretty interesting. It is a product that was in the works in development during the 2020, and now it is a product. I'm very proud to announce this product. It is also a combination of hardware and software together. It is our hand sanitization detector. So basically, it's an Intel camera. So we do have, we'll give you some more details for those for after this meeting. But we do have some height requirements, some distance, resolution. But basically, I have a video to exemplify what this solution entails. So we have our hand sanitization station. So through using our behavior analytics algorithm, we're able to see if the individual does sanitize its hands properly. And we have here hand sanitization done. The same thing will happen for an individual who will come into the facility and not appropriately use the hand sanitization. Therefore, the alarm will sound, or will the report will show that the hand sanitization was not done. So we can drag and drop within the map those capabilities and those features using within the VMS a platform gives you a lot of event management solution, okay? And I'll show you this on my last slide. Something else that ISS has developed, and it is the combination of hardware and software as well. I personally like this Porter station because I've seen a lot of solutions where, and I will show you again the video. It's good because it's amplified pretty well. See, this individual is wearing a mask, he's using this hand sanitization properly. But if he's to approach a camera that is doing thermal only, and if he's not wearing a mask, how would this turnstile open and close? So you would need two solutions running at the same time. So even though ISS has the same solution or has the similar solution, oh, sorry, let me just go back to the video. Would be easier to have something like this, a Porter station, where the individual can actually see it, the green, okay, mask is used properly, temperature check, turnstile opens. It different happens to this woman where her mask is under the nose, but the temperature is good. Her mask's now properly put it on, and the turnstile opens. Very interesting application. So that is already a product, is on our portfolio, part of our price list. You guys are welcome to check. So by using and by putting all the solutions together, now you have an inspector for all violations. Again, a dashboard that can be customized to your organization and to your facility. So now you can check individuals. And when I mentioned about all this analytics of ISS, all these video management solutions working within an enterprise level VMS, you can now combine a lot of functionalities. For example, access control. Again, I showed you on my first slide, the many access control manufacturers we fully integrated with. But now imagine now you have a full control. So you have your mapping, you can display, drag and drop cameras, you can drag and drop your readers, your Porter stations for thermal and mask detections, maybe your intrusion detectors. Now you are able to check individuals because we're able to bring or import these individuals from your card or access control. We have the visual inspection, because at the end of the day, that's our main functionality. So you have a complete solution using our suite of analytics along with the video management. So one of the things that I want to, before I end the presentation and I open the session for Q&A, I want to show you, and for the individuals who are present here today, which I appreciate the time, and who had the pleasure, I would say, to work with our organization, with me and Edward here in Canada, you know that we are very, we really strive the customer support. We really respect this pre and post support. So we are always, for the projects that I've sold in Canada and for the customers that I've assisted, I have referrals from each individual that we're with them from the assessing the problem, designing the solution, specifying the product, deploying the project, reviewing, going back if the installation is okay, and post support. We always on a fine tuning alongside with our partners and end users, okay? Some of the global successes, of course, I cannot finish the presentation today by not pointing out the many applications we have around the world. But of course, my beloved Canada, I have to point some of the great successes we have here. Bruce Power Nuclear Plant in Ontario, Port of Montreal, something that I have very close to my heart because it was a stiff competition against the major VMS players in Canada and the world. And ISS was the chosen analytics for that port. We have some other great case studies, Canadian Tire, face recognition, Simon Stores, Couche-Tard, and so on. So I can provide this presentation to anyone who's interested after, and I have referrals from each company that you see listed here. And with that said, I want to again thank you for your presence this afternoon. I would like to leave my contact information at the bottom. It would be a pleasure to assist each one of you on a particular level or after this presentation.
Great. Thank you, Suresh. Now we're on to the part where I speak about or ask questions about things I don't understand. If anybody does have questions, please type them into your Q&A window at the bottom of your screen. Our first question, are analytics binded to the camera or are they concurrent type?
So great question. So the analytics, the analytics we have on our server-based analytics. So that's the short answer. So we have a server-based analytics there you can use any camera. So we are not binded to a specific camera manufacturer. You can use any camera. But I guess I know the meaning of this question might also be if the camera has a edge analytic, would I be able to see on an ISS interface? Some cameras, yes. So some camera manufacturers do have some behavior analytics on the edge, and we are able to display on the SecuhOS interface.
Great, thank you. Our next question, does your solution work with any hardware? Is it open to any manufacturer?
Correct. So for the cameras, absolutely works with any manufacturer. Respecting some, of course, ISS always guide the integrator and the end user for, resolution specs, angle, maybe some lens capabilities. So we give the recipe, but the end or the camera or the manufacturer of choice, we always give that freedom to the customer.
Okay, thank you. Next up, for wearing masks, are the analytics smart enough to pick up face shields in use?
For the use with a face mask?
Yes, if there's a shield in front of the mask.
Right. Well, I actually like this particular question because even though the face recognition analytics was not the main topic today, but we have a recent development or a recent improvement on the engine of the face recognition specifically to address the face mask. So basically with a partial obstruction of the face, which is the obligation to wear a mask, the face recognition algorithm today has more capability and more pixel per image to have the recognition higher.
Okay. Next up, are your analytics native to the VMS and is it modular?
Right. Okay. So yeah. So that was on my first slide. So all the analytics that I showed you guys today are all native to the software. So it's modular. So you don't have to buy them all at once. Absolutely not. That's why, as an employee of ISS, for me it's easy to sell ISS because I can fit a 10 camera job today, and that customer can grow into putting LPR face recognition in the future. It is modular. They can buy as they need. They can buy features as they grow.
Okay, and we have time for one last question. Does ISS have API and SDK? Please specify.
Right, so we do have them both, and we do have a document listing all the APIs capabilities, from IDK, from active media kit to using a third-party software and then embedded our media client or our display of cameras into a third-party interface. So yeah, there are several APIs The only thing we have is an NDA to sign. We have a document that we can share once, of course, NDAs are signed and engineers are involved, which we have an R&D from New Jersey responsible for that. But if any more information on that, please send me an email on the side. We definitely can discuss, and I'll share with you the documentation.
Okay, thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of today's session. I know there were a couple of questions we weren't able to get to, so I will send those over to Ceres at the end of the session, and she'll be able to respond to you after that. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and thank you to Ceres and to ISS for their support today.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity.
Great. Thank you. We look forward to seeing everyone again soon. Until then, be well.